Hi, tonight, this morning, wherever you are, I'm going to talk about the south of the medicine wheel. And is that where your true journey begins? And it could be the start of where your true journey begins. And what do I mean by that? I mean your soul's path. Because the south also represents the summer and fire as an element. But I just want to explore some of it today, like the south of the medicine wheel. Because in many traditions, the south does represent the summer, the element of fire, but that vibrant stage of life where our energy is, well, it's at its strongest in the youth. And if you're new to my channel, by the way, my name is Stephen Bones. I do practice shamanism. And if you enjoy this kind of content, I'd really appreciate it if you subscribe and click the notification bell. It really does help me and my channel to grow and to reach and touch so many people. And thank you. Because I do try and deliver from the heart space. But let's come back to the south and is this your true path? So the south, as I mentioned earlier, is perhaps a season of youth. It's the time in life when we're full of enthusiasm, lots of curiosity and a real desire to get out and experience the world for ourselves. And we want to discover who we really are, make our own choices and perhaps carve out our own place in life that we think that may be. But for many of us, though, this is also when we begin chasing achievement, and we might feel that we need qualifications, a successful career, financial security, or obtain a certain lifestyle. Because in Western society, we're so often taught that success looks a particular way, like get the good job, buy the house, drive the nice car, and you'll finally be happy. And I'm not knocking this, by the way. This is exactly where I was, and you'll see where I'm going with this. And the question is, though, are these truly our dreams? Are they the dreams that we've actually inherited from other people, maybe from parents, carers, anybody in authority that had some sort of influence on our life when we're in the East, in that new beginnings? And sometimes we just follow a path. Because it's simply what we've always believed that we should do. We compare ourselves many times to others, believing we need what they have sort of in order to feel complete. And sometimes envy comes in there as well. And that's down another rabbit hole, but it does go in there. And I know these were the sort of things that I certainly did in my life. And I was driven that way because I never actually wanted to experience the poverty I knew as a child. I really wanted security, and I wanted the things that I believed would actually make me happy. And looking back now, I can see I genuinely thought happiness was waiting for me once I'd begun to achieve enough. And it took me decades to really find out because I kept chasing that. But at the same time, I remember the incredible energy I had in those early years. I was gaining confidence and earning my own money from about 17 onwards. And I started to become independent. And there was an excitement and a possibility about life and the real sense of life because it seemed to be opening up to me. Even though a lot of the time I had a fear of what I was stepping into. I remember that as well. So in the south, it's where we begin to discover ourselves through experience. And sometimes we succeed, sometimes we fail, but every mistake teaches us something valuable. Because to me, there is no success or failure. It's just one end of the stick to the other, and they both teach us something. And learning is one of the great gifts of this season of the south. And as life unfolds, responsibility tends to follow naturally, and this is where we get into the responsibility, and can be the cycle that I certainly got on, this hamster wheel, because I ended up with a mortgage and a new car and the responsibility of raising a family and keeping a roof over their head and making sure there was food on the table. And that led to obviously demanding a career as well, where people in my life were relying on me in some way, shape or form. And then there's suddenly pressures to perform, because my income, my life and everything I created around that was depending on my income, of what I was achieving, what I could deliver. And little by little, the carefree spirit of my childhood began to give way to these adult responsibilities. So the freedom that we can take for granted when we're a child, it begins to fade, and it gets replaced by commitments and expectations. And again, I'm not knocking this, just wait till the end. And this is also where many relationships deepen as well. In this season, we might meet new colleagues, employers, friends, partners, and we begin to forming emotional bonds that begin to shape us as well in ways that we never actually expected. But they're not always permanent either. Things change, people move on. But our inner fire tends to express itself through our passion and ambition and trust and joy, and sometimes even frustration. But every experience that we have reveals another part of who we actually are. And from a shamanic perspective, the South is a season where the soul begins to gather all that experience. It learns through the success, if you like, and the struggles. And we discover our strength along the way. But we also encounter stress, disappointment in these struggles, and moments when life doesn't go according to plan. And this is what I'm coming up to. And eventually many of us will reach a point where our life begins to stand still, and something begins to happen that we can't control. A relationship ends, we lose a job, illness arrived, a loved one passes away. And these moments then begin to prepare us for the next part of the medicine wheel. So what I'm pointing to is all these experiences we have lead us to where we are. And that's certainly where I am now. I wouldn't change anything I did because, or any of my life, because all those things have brought me to what I'm doing now and delivering this to you, which I never thought I ever would do. So the moments that prepare us for the next part of the medicine wheel, because without the summer, we can never actually truly understand the winter. And we'll get round to the winter after we've done the west. And it's often, because the winter is the north, by the way, and it's often only when our fire has really been tested, and that's where I was, that we began searching for a deeper meaning to life. And that's why south, the summer, is opposite north, the winter, because we can move from the south, the summer, straight bang into the winter, because we've having to contemplate all these tests. So thanks again for listening to me. I hope you found that interesting. It's just to try and, again, as I always say, spark your curiosity, and I'll catch you next time. Sorry it was a long one, and if you're still here, I really do appreciate you hanging on and listening to the full recording. Take care, see you next time.